Hi, once again, welcome to the Mindset Mastery Show with George Wrighster, your host. Listen, I want to bring a exciting, informative conversation to you today with a very inspiring guest. His name is Dr. Robert Cummings. Listen, please remember to go to YouTube, like us, subscribe to us, share it with your friends, your relatives, anyone that you feel will be blessed by the content that we provide here. Follow us on podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating. You also can follow us on all of our social media sites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. There's nothing that we like more than to hear from you. You can also email us at george@georgefwrighster.com. Anytime you have a comment, information that you want to share, we'll accept it. Go to my website. You can also sign up for a 20-minute discovery session so that we can discuss anything that we talk about on the podcast, or if it's just some information that you need that we haven't provided for you on the show, please, we can sit and talk about it. Doesn't cost you anything. This is a year of giving. I said it before. I want to give more this year than I've ever given before in my life. I don't care whether it's finances, whether it's information, whether it's my time, my service. I am here for you. St. Jude is our recommended and the organization that we're going to uh, request that you provide funds for this year if you have an opportunity to. I know this is a tough time for people right now with everything that's going on, but if you have the extra resources when you can help out St. Jude Hospital, it's a research center that treats children with cancer and other medical conditions. Every family that goes there doesn't pay one penny for being there. It's all provided for through the hospital and donors like yourself and myself. They love to hear from you. Sometimes you may not have money to give. You may have time. You may be able to write a card. You may be able to uh, send something, some gift of love that you can send to the kids that are there, and even share with the faculty or the staff about how much you appreciate what they do and what they've done in the community. I can't wait for you to hear Robert today. It's going to be an exciting show. Look forward to seeing you in just a moment. And I'll bring on Robert Cummings, known as Coach C. See you in a minute. Here we are back again. Welcome to Mindset Mastery with your host, George Wrighster. Today, I have a special guest, a gentleman we've known each other. I don't even want to tell you how long. It's so long that I can't even remember the exact date. But I can tell you this, it's over 20 years ago. And when I tell you this brother's going to bless you, I refer to him as bro, Rob, but he's known as Dr. Cummings, respectfully deserved. He got his doctoral, Pastor Cummings to some who've known him before he became a doctor, and Coach C to the people who've been under his voice and under his word, and that's heard the amazing things and testimony that God has done in his life. But here is the reality of this whole situation, why I wanted this brother to come on. He's going to give it to you real. Because see, he wasn't where he is now 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Everybody starts somewhere. So we don't judge, we don't condemn people. What we do is tell you about an experience and what we've experienced and what he's experienced and what has transpired in his life over time. Over time, because sometimes it takes time. And some of us, the time is shorter. Some of us is faster. But in all cases, we'll get there if we want to. And if we have a desire, a zeal, a love in our heart to be better and do better, hey, without further ado, I got to introduce the doc to you. Coach C in the
Hey,
house. Talk to me, baby.
hey, that's my brother. Man, me and you. I'm saying me and you. Yes, Sandra. Oh, your wife, man.
Yeah.
Oh, she makes the best pancakes, sausages, wings.
All times of night, right, bro?
All time, man.
Mm.
Oh, I'm gonna just say I love Sandra. I know you love, but you know I love my sister and the family.
Absolutely.
I love you so much, Joe. You know I'm a crybaby. I might be crying, so y'all hope. Hey, I'm a real man now.
Hey,
I'm
release,
a real
baby.
man. But I cry easily because I'm
Hey.
so grateful.
Mm.
George, I'm so grateful. This time, this hour, this day was predestined.
Mm.
It was predetermined before me and you came out of our mother's womb. Wow. That's how real the life of the God kind is.
Yes.
So as we flow, you let me know my time. You might have to clip me. Because boy, once you already lit me up when you told me you wanted me on. I was lit back then, so I've been brewing.
Mm.
And so you let me know I'm at a road. I got my little direction of how you want me to do it.
Yes,
I follow
sir.
orders. I'm at your command.
Hey, well, we all percolating, waiting for you, bro.
I want to say this
Waiting.
to you and those that might watch this. I love this man. He's my brother.
Mm.
He's a brother for those that don't know. As I move in, you'll see how I'm sharing the story. So we're going to begin to talk about my background and what happened to me before Jesus. So I want to tell you I love you, sir.
Thank you, Rob. You know
I
I
really
love
do.
you.
I love you so much, man. You know that. That's I won't even talk about, because love, people don't know what that really means.
Mm.
You know. So here I am. My mom got with a man. Maybe that's your story. I don't know. But I was one of those. We're talking about Coach C, one of those. Two people getting together, not married. And here I come. April 2nd, 1955. Friday night, 10:30. I was born. General Hospital, East LA. Boy, from East LA. Yeah.
Mm.
And so praise God. Moving forward, my mom gave me up for 3 months for whatever reason. She had to do what she had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Another story. So then some people that knew my mother, they took me in indirect foster home. So as a result of that, I grew up. I want to, don't hit all the little details. Thank God for the place that I was in. I don't know if many of you, I got to hit you with this one. I don't know how many of y'all. I was a good baby. I was a good child. I was a good child. Let me back up. They found me in a drawer at 3 months old. I don't know if you ever knew that, George. They
No.
found me in a drawer at 3 months old. Moving forward. Oh, I'm in this home. Now in the place that I stayed. I love the people that got me. But I grew up in nothing but drugs my whole life. Some of those that are old school, they understand Red Devils. They understand Yellow Jackets.
Yes.
That's what was the thing back then.
Yes.
Cocaine was a upper echelon type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that they were doing back then was Red Devils and weed and drinking. Ripple was a thing to drink back then. And so I don't know if any of you ever, for whatever reason, me and the extension cord, we knew each other. I don't know what you mean by the extension cord.
Yeah.
If you never got whooped with an extension cord, Lord Jesus. Now that was child abuse.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking whips and
That was
everything
child
else.
abuse back then.
Yes.
I mean, so, I had to add that in because a lot of children today, they talk about child abuse. I don't know what child abuse is. I have no idea. But we came up in that era. And so I was a very good child. I wasn't disobedient. Those that even know my character today, before I received Jesus, I just, I was a good child. Loved school. And so as I moved forward, graduated, and I went on to junior high school, middle school, I found out in junior high, we called it junior high back then. We called it junior high, not middle school. And back then we got it 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, not 6th grade, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade back then.
Right.
And so moving forward, I found out that I had a talent. I found my talent around about 10 years old, that I enjoyed making you happy. I enjoyed putting a smile on your face. That made me happy. That satisfied me, irregardless of what was going on in my household. It was a terrible household. I saw death at age 11 and 12 in the house. I saw all of that at a young age. I got hooked on a little bit of the Red Devils at one time. My brother gave me some Red Devils. Oh, step brothers, whatever, you know. He gave me a Red Devil.
Wow.
They found me in the hallway sleep. They had just got through. I had to fold the clothes.
Yeah.
They just came back from the wash house. They came back from the wash house, and they found me asleep. I got whooping. They whooped me. I'm like, they whooped me.
Wow.
I'm like, you know, that's the worst stuff. I don't have to go into all the rest of that. Moving forward, I made it through, got to high school, Gardena High School, went to Gardena High School. Back in the day, you know, they had at that time they had the AB, B7, A7. They graduated twice, summer and spring, I think summer and spring. Well, at that time, there was a school district was changing. It was going to have all year school. And so your parents had to come in, and people had come into the school and, you know, tell them, hey, yeah, move him up or whatever. Well, they didn't come. They came not to one, I'm going to go back and forth. They came not to one sport event. Not one sport event. I said, not one sport event. Now, mind you, no dad, no father, no mother. Never seen my father, ever, ever. Mom gave me up, and I'll get to her first time I met her. So that's my story, kind of, and I'm gonna move forward a little bit. So I got to high school, and oh man, I was a high jumper, took second in the city in 1973. Made it to high school, made it through high school, and went on to go to college, Harvard College, San Pedro, California. I wanted to be a police officer.
Wow.
I wanted to stop the stuff that I was involved in my home and in the city, because back in the day, that's when the Compton Crips came out. About Compton Crips, about 1969. 69, they were really, really prevalent. They got really prevalent, 69, 70, all of that, you know, and back in the day, you know, they had Tookie and all those guys. We knew all those guys. You know, Raymond, I knew all those guys from the hood.
Wow.
But we moved forward, and now let me back up. Now, back then, I got a little bit into the martial arts when I was like 12 years old. Didn't get deep. I got into martial arts, ended up going to a school. I had a young man that took me to a school where Dania Santos, those that's in the martial art world, and Dania Santos got involved in that, but I didn't know what I was involved in. But I should have stayed at that school because that was Bruce Lee's comrade. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. This place in Torrance, you had to be invited. You had to be invited. I just didn't know where I was.
Wow.
And I didn't know. And so long story short, I really loved it and really got involved in it. So finally made it to high school.
Rob, let me ask you something real quick, because you touched on something, and I want to make sure in case there's somebody listening that has gone through something similar that you went through. When you said that you had experienced or witnessed your first death at 8. And I remember when I was growing up, I grew up in the projects in Memphis, Tennessee. And I saw my first death at 6 in the barbershop. My dad and mother had asked the babysitter to take me and my brother to the barbershop.
Yeah.
And we went to the barbershop, and I'm sitting in a barber's chair, and a gentleman comes in asking the barber for some money that he owed him. And so I'm getting a little bit nervous answering. The babysitter sitting across from us in the chair next to my brother. And so they get into a conversation and arguing back and forth. The barber said, the money's in the cup, reach in the cup, get the money out. And the guy says, no, I'm not reaching up there. I want you to get it and put it in my hand like I put it in your hand, with all the expletives, you know, to go along with that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the guy who came in didn't like the barber's response, who was cutting my hair, whipped out a knife and just started stabbing him. So the girl who had taken us to the barbershop grabbed me by the hand and snatched my brother. We ran to the back, going to the bathroom. where we're petrified. We're screaming and crying. She's
Yeah.
crying, and we get inside the bathroom, and just as soon as we got the door closed, he hit the guy who was her stabbed the barber was chasing after us because we were the only ones in the barbershop.
Oh, wow.
And so he runs into the door, but we get the door, all three of us on the door, and push the door closed, and she locked it, and he's beating on the door frantically, trying to get in, tearing the door down. And so she had the wherewithal. There was a window. In Tennessee, they had those. You ever seen those alleys where a building is below ground? So they have a window up, and if you climb out of it, you're at street level.
Right.
We got the window pried open, and then she lifted one of us up at a time up through the window. We climbed out, and then we were help pull her out of the window, out of the shop. Just as we got her pulled up and she's getting herself up, he breaks the door down. So, but we get her out just in the nick of time.
Thank you, Lord.
And then we start running, and then we went to my house, and it was a big to do after that. But that's even longer story.
Wow.
But the effect of that, traumatized
Yes.
me for years. I
Yeah.
couldn't be alone. I could barely stand, any strangers. But it was a traumatic experience. What did that do to you, seeing your first body, as they would say now, at 8 years old?
Yeah, and what it was the brother stabbed the other brother in my house. Yes, I'm standing there. He stabbed him. He goes in the hospital later on. He end up, he gets out, but then he ends up dying. Ends up dying. That's to see another brother. I don't have any brothers. I'm the only child. No dad. That was traumatizing at its best, with no father. Every young man needs his father. Yeah, we'll talk about that as I move on. Once I got married, and that bothered me. Who's my dad? Who is my father? Who is my father? That's traumatizing, along with the drugs, and then now you see a death. One brother stabs the other because they was angry at each other.
Yes.
But that's the perspective of a child seeing something and seeing how what we think is how to deal with issues.
Exactly.
So as we grow up as little Johnnies and little Marys, we get a perspective. We get a perspective of what we see, how to deal with this issue, that issue, this issue, that issue, whatever issue it is. And if you grow up with that and never get fixed and never get your mind changed and your character changed, you're gonna have a warped, bent, discombobulated mindset on how to deal with issues in your life. And over here, there's the drug man, there's the alcohol guy, because that's what you saw.
Yes.
So you got this perspective on how to deal with life. So when life it seems like throws a curve to you and you can't deal with it, where you go? Drinking, smoking, pills, thinking you're relieving the issue. Yes. But we know, as we're older now, you just digging your grave a foot at a time.
Yes.
At a time. So that's very traumatizing to young people as we grow up and as I remove from that. It's still going on today, George. It's still going on today. And that's my drive. Like as I share more with you, that's my drive today.
Yeah.
So I enjoy making you happy. I enjoy doing something, finding out how to do it, and then share with you. This is how you do it. That's what makes me happy. That gives me a joy unspeakable. I enjoy it. Because I sit back and say, wow, not that I get any. That's not my character. You already know that.
Yes.
I don't know. I just want you to be, whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe I got it from my mom. I don't know. I don't know. But I enjoy making you smile. Wow. So as I move forward, I get past high school. Not one time, like I said, did anybody from the household come to my events. I ran track and field. I was on championships, even in middle school, high school, from Gardena High School, track and field. Our team because I wasn't that big. I was real short. I was short till I went in the military. I was only like 5'2". I was 5'4", 5'6", jumping 6'2", 6'4".
Wow. You had bounce, huh?
Bounce, Doc. Bounce. Bounce. And come to find out, I enjoyed that. And the track and field life, I enjoyed it. I ran cross country 2 miles, and then got in college, 4.2 miles. I ran some hills. I have ran so much, but not knowing as we move forward into my life. And so I got 1 year in college, went to Harvard College, wanted to be a police officer. Earl Paysinger, those that know Earl Paysinger, he was the deputy chief police officer of LAPD. Yes, I went to school with him, and him and another gentleman. They both ended up doing LAPD, and I decided to go in the military. My stepfather, he mentioned it one time. Go to what you need to go to the military. But I always worked. I had a job at 10 years old.
Wow.
I met Kenny Norton. He used to live in Carson, which is in the early 70s.
Okay.
I met Kenny Norton back in 70, 71. I used to work at a grocery store in Gardena across the street from where the Home Depot Center is, right there on Avalon. And I used to work for this Chinese people, and I was a box boy. 10 years old. I also worked for, some of you know this market, Alpha Beta. I worked at Alpha Beta as a box boy.
Wow.
Right? And I learned some skills. I learned some people skills as I grew up, not knowing. I just wanted to, I knew there was something better than what I seen in this household.
Okay.
I just didn't know the direction. I didn't know God at that time. I didn't know anything about. Now I grew up, for whatever reason, I did not get involved or attached to it. But I grew up in the Masonics in the household. I grew up, my mother that kept me, she was an Eastern Star. Come to find out, we understand what that's all about. It has nothing to do with God. Let me just say that without going into that. Okay.
Yes.
There's a dark side to that. Yes.
Yes.
So for whatever reason, I didn't get involved in that. I didn't. And so moving forward, I finally got I went 1 year of college, Harvard College. And that desire of me wanting to be a police officer, it didn't happen.
Okay.
So I inducted to the Army June 19th, 1974. I'm raising my hand, getting swore in, going my way to Vietnam. And 18 years old, going to Vietnam. So I didn't know. I just wanted to be a better person. That's all.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't want to be what I saw, and I didn't. I'm gonna tell you what I craved for. I craved for acceptance. I craved for having somebody, because they never hugged me. I never got a hug by no man, hug by a father. I never got that. The person, it was a mess. I'm not exact. It was a mess. I loved them, but hey, because they provided a home, food, shelter, clothing, and I loved them for that. But it wasn't a HOME. I got to tell the truth. I have to tell the truth.
Right.
And so, but here's the thing: somebody, and I'm gonna say this, somebody somewhere was praying for me. Somebody had
talk to me.
Somebody somewhere was praying for me as a young man. And for those out there, somebody's praying for you. Well, I'm gonna let you know, number one, Jesus is praying for you, because he's sitting at the right hand of the Father making intercession.
Waiting.
He's praying. If you don't think nobody else is praying for you, he's praying for you. I'm gonna tell you what, Coach C's praying for you. I know George is praying for you.
Absolutely.
Those are gonna hear this. They're praying for you, that you find your purpose, find why you were brought to this earth. You need to find that out. You'll never be satisfied You'll never have that sense of satisfaction or gratitude. It'll always be void. It'll always, I don't care
Yes.
how much money you make, you'll be
Yes.
like the Bible says, the rich young ruler. He walked away sad because his riches had him.
Yes.
What must I do
That's
to be
correct.
saved? Jesus told him exactly. He was talking to the man, not even. And Jesus said, go sell what you have and give to the poor. He walked away sad
Yes, he
and
did.
turned
Yes, he
away
did.
eternal life.
Yes.
Well, as we move forward, I'm in West Germany. Woo! Do what I want to do. I'm 19. I'm 18. I'm not turning 19. I could do what I want to do. I think I'm a man, on my way to Vietnam, right? And got involved in some stuff over there with a lot of the guys that came back from Vietnam, earlier they had been over there in my
Yes.
unit in West Germany. Oh, I love Germany. I enjoyed West Germany. And I'll share a little bit, then we move forward. But I got over there really, really still not knowing who I was. But I knew that I wanted to be something, but I just didn't know what it was. So I got involved and I want to say something here. You could choose your choices, but you cannot choose your consequences. Your
Oh,
consequences are inevitable. When you do
yes.
your consequences, you need to make sure when you make those choices, whether it's a negative, because you might think it's a good choice. The way you're going to know is after you plant that seed.
Yes. Absolutely.
The seed is coming back.
Yes.
More times than enough, you know what you're doing is not right or it's not the right choice. But you go ahead and do what you do. Not really, really, really assessing, or actually, let me say this word, doing an autopsy on your choice.
Oh.
You don't really
Oh.
analyze. You don't analyze and assess the choice that you're getting ready to make. If you really analyzed and assessed and did an autopsy to find out if I did this, if I did that, or if I did that. You don't do that. You just do because you do what your flesh tells you to do. Because it's
Yes.
what you're pleasing it, and it has an appetite. It has an
Exactly.
appetite. And it will rule you like it was ruling me with how I got involved in those drugs. And remember this, family, when you make that decision, remember this now, the choices you make not only affect you, but it affects all those that are associated
Everybody.
with you,
Yes.
family members, co-workers. It'll affect everybody in
Mhm.
some way or form. That's this little nugget that I learned.
Yes.
Your choice. The seeds that you plant, they will come back. Now, will you be ready? Because they're going to rise. Whatsoever man sows, whatsoever man plants, that what he plants, that what he sows, that's what he's going to reap and nothing else.
You know what, Rob? And I don't want to jump ahead of your story because I
Ahead
don't
of me,
know.
jumper.
I don't know if you're gonna go to this point or not. But I remember when we used to be at church. When we used to go do prison ministry,
Yes,
and we go
I
and
got that
speak.
on. I got that
Oh,
right here. I
yeah,
got it on here. No, come on, come on. I
yeah.
got it right here.
It's speaking to the point of how your decisions affect everyone that's around you. And we
Yes,
see the kids coming into the prisons to visit, men and women.
men and women.
Listen, I wasn't really conscious of how many women are in prison or in jail until we started going to,
Yes,
to share and participate in activities. We used to go with the church to play basketball games in the
yeah.
prison,
Remember that?
with the inmates. Oh my
With the
God,
inmates.
with the inmates.
Yeah,
They had it set up. So we had our team church at our
yeah.
team
I
at
remember
church,
that.
and our church would go to these prisons and
Yeah,
participate in with an opportunity to share the word and share our experience with
yes,
them. But
yes.
it speaks to the point of you saying that every decision we make is going to affect someone, and it will break my heart, your heart. We have, like you said, Rob, we emotional men, so we don't mind expressing our emotions and sharing
Right.
our emotions because we know the love and what's happened to us, and we just want it for everybody else that we come in
Yes, sir.
contact with.
Yes,
So
sir.
it just I, man, I I just had to throw that in because I wanted
You
people
have
to
to.
understand that our decisions is going to affect
Yes.
everyone, not just us. And then when we consciously think about those and we do the autopsy, we take that, do that autopsy.
When you do that autopsy,
stop you from
you're going to find out if you, because this is the teaching, you know, you remember I did that teaching.
Yes.
The autopsy. I taught on that because you got to assess. You, as I get older and older and older, I have to assess every decision that I make by the wisdom of the Holy Spirit, because He knows what's out there. When I make that decision, He already knows what's going to happen. So in relation to that, as a young man, I didn't know. Didn't nobody tell me? I had no man in my life. I had no father. I had no mentor. I had nobody. We just had each other on the playground.
That's right.
Now, we knew some things were wrong to do. We know that because there's instincts that's built in us. No, don't do that. You didn't go do that. Don't do that. Sometimes we go ahead and do it. Thinking, not knowing that's a thought we didn't know then. That's a thought from the enemy. The thought, ideas, and suggestions that he plants give you to thinking that you're going to get away.
Right.
You're not going to get away because there's principles that are in the earth that are divine principles that we have learned today. It's a privilege to know what we know, George.
Yes.
It's a privilege.
Absolutely.
To know what we know. And we want to give this to those that will have ears to hear and a heart to receive. But we know everybody don't want to hear. Everybody don't want to receive. We already know that. And we can't make them. So all we can do is stand back and just continue to pray for them, intercede, that maybe hopefully one day before they lay in that casket and we looking at them and they not looking back.
Right. You got that right, bro. You got that right.
Oh, Jesus. So as I move forward, I got involved in the drug thing overseas because I didn't do any drugs. I didn't do none of that prior to. We dabbed a little bit, you know, little boys, little girls. We did all that, but I wasn't sexually active.
Right.
Because back in the day, they said you know that'll mess up the track season. That'll mess up your football season.
Yes.
And I took it literally. We ain't doing that. I got a high jump. No, I got a long jump. I got to do the hurdles. I ain't doing none of that.
Right.
I'm serious. I really was. God was my witness. No, none of that. None of that. So I got involved in hashish overseas. And so not to go into that, but I got involved in that. Got involved in the sexual stuff. And hey, was it good? Yeah, it was good. Come on,
life.
Just tell the truth.
As life.
That's life. Yeah. Okay, we got involved. All of that. And I'm saying I'm 19 years old.
Right.
Do what I want to do.
Yes.
But not knowing about those choices. The seeds that I planted. The seeds that I planted. The seeds that I watered. I had to reap them because when they start coming, when those seeds start coming, I didn't know how to deal with them. Just like you don't know how to deal with them. If you don't have, as I get forward, I'm gonna share with you some things. As you move forward in life, if you don't have the word of God in your life, and you love God. But we're gonna talk about it before I finish. You gotta love this. God, you're going down. You're going down. Because you don't know how. And Satan will beat you down. And some of you know it. He's beating you down already. You're trying to get up. He hits you again. Pow! Hit you again before you even get up. You look up. Pow! Hit you again. You don't know how. I'm going to share with you briefly as we get before I finish. How do I deal with it? How do I do it? All right. So I'm in Germany.
Okay.
Young man, made it there. Got over there. Got involved in sports. They have it in the Olympics today. It's called handball. They call it handball playing. And I became great over there. This is back in 1974.
Wow.
I was as big as a minute. Maybe weighed about 155, maybe. And then I started growing. In the military. I grew like, in the military, I do about 6 inches.
Wow.
And of course, I'm about 6 feet right now. So I grew. Because I was in high school, they have C, B, and varsity.
Yeah.
I was a B in the 12th grade. I was short. real
Yeah.
short. But I
Yeah.
had the talent. And so, praise God, moved on from that, got in the military, loved it, enjoyed it, got involved in the martial arts over there. And then I came home. It was on our way to Vietnam. It was on our way to Vietnam. And for whatever reason, we didn't go. Hey, we didn't go. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Right.
So I wanted to get out. I wanted to do a European. I wanted to stay there in Europe. But for some reason I came back, what they call back to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I came back to the world. It was really different. I really
Mm.
didn't know how to deal with it. I got hooked on the drugs, on the weed, and that was my way out of how to deal with things.
Mm.
It was a seed and a choice that I had put in my life. I did it. Nobody made me do it. I chose to do those things. Also, let me say this. I got involved, Lord Jesus. I got involved in some acid called microdot acid. Not, I mean,
Ooh.
it's so little.
Yes.
And that stuff,
Purple
that
mica
stuff,
dive.
man,
Yeah, I
that
remember.
stuff took me
Yeah.
on trips. Where
Wow.
we had tapestry in my room,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a lion one, a tiger, and the tiger came off the tapestry and ran me around the room.
That stuff was
True story. Yeah, that stuff had me.
wow.
I didn't stay on that long. That was
Thank
one
goodness.
choice. Oh, no. I'm telling you, my partner can tell you. And I tripped. Back in the States. Got back in the States, and now back in the States, 1976. Now, I also joined the Army National Guard. I end up joining the Army National Guard. Moving forward, I did 26 years. In the process of doing those 26 years, I came across Jesus.
Mm.
See, let me back up before I get to that point. So, because I got to hit this. So I come back to the world, Carson, California, went back to where I was living at. And I got involved in, because there was weed time now. But at that time in 74, it was LSD, it was angel dust.
Mm-hmm.
It was angel dust. And it was whack. It was whack back in the day.
Wow. I haven't heard
Whack.
that in a long time.
Man, whack. So my partner, we was going to this party. He said, Mook, my nickname was Mookie. Mookie, right? He said, Mook. He said, Mook, man, you're back in the world. He said, they got this stuff right here. And man, I hit it. I hit it like you hit a regular joint. You don't do that.
No.
You don't do that. That's all you do. I did like this. Man. Well, let me one more. Man.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Oh, you in a trance, huh?
Toe up.
Oh.
Toe up.
Wow.
I wasn't supposed to. He say, Mook, don't do that. It's too late, man. That thing had me. That thing shot me. I don't know if I ever told you. I think I did. This is what I do. We'll talk about it when I go to schools. And I share with them, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. And then I show them why. And I had got into martial arts really heavy, right? My partner said, some of you that are old school, remember you had to be in the house when that light turned on? Yes. They had those old school in LA, they got those sprinkler poles, those poles like concrete. It looks sprinkly, right? With the light, right?
Yeah.
So my partner, he said, Mook, man, you can knock down that pole, Mook, you can kick that pole down, Mook. I said, yeah, man, yeah.
No.
If I can show you right now, if I took my shoe off, my toe, I wish I could take my shoe off and show everybody my toe. Let me see. It's next to the big toe. My right foot is next to the big toe. It should be out like this. It should be out like that, right? It ain't. It's like this.
Oh my God.
I can show it to you right now.
You didn't kick that pole.
I kicked that pole so hard.
Oh my God.
Man, my partner can tell you today. Man, my toe went like this.
Oh man.
We didn't go to the hospital back in the day.
No.
We didn't go to no
You
hospital.
couldn't afford it.
I couldn't afford it. My toll today is like that from
Wow.
1976 to this day right now. Never got it fixed.
Oh,
and that's what I
don't do
use as a
drugs.
testimony. That's what I use as a testimony. Don't take drugs. Let me show you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Here's the other part about the story. When I got back to the world, I got hooked up in cocaine. We did freebasing back in the day. It was freebasing. Now I'm 20 year old now. And I remember to this day, crawling around on the ground on 169th Street in Carson, California. I grew up in Centerview. And I was trying to find I'm on the ground on the streets of 169th Street, crawling around on the ground, trying to, I'm telling you, that dope that dope will take you, some of you know, that dope will take you on a spin that you don't want to.
Oh yeah.
But God, whoever was praying for me, I'm gonna move forward. September 16th, and that's that life. It was really a bad, I don't want to go into all some other stuff. Move forward. Robert Cummings, Coach C, Dr. Cummings, hooking up and had an experience of the God kind. Story of my wife, she had to say this story, but I'm gonna give you a brief. So I got a job at Hughes Aircraft. Actually, I got a job at shoe store. Got a job at shoe store in 1977 in the Hawthorne Mall, selling shoes. I had a guy teach me how to sell shoes. So I became a pretty good salesman, working at Florsham's. Now, during that time, the Koreans, they used to come in. I was right up from the airport. They would come in. All they buy is Florsham's. All they bought was Florsham's. So long story short, I worked, guys taught me how to sell shoes. This particular day, my wife, Cheryl Cummings, this is 1979. I was selling shoes. My wife tells the story, but I'm gonna tell the short version. She said her and her girlfriend came in, and they came in the shoe store. She said she saw me. I had my Jerry curl, you know, rolling with my Jerry curl. I don't have no Jerry curl now.
It's all gone.
A Jerry curl roll. She said, boy, he's cute. This is her story. She said he's cute, but he's silly, but he's cute. So my partner, Tyrone, he's my partner today. He's my, you know Ty. He just been Usher. Yeah. Fortenberry, Tyrone Fortenberry.
Right.
Yeah. That's my ace coon boom. We've been knowing each other for over 50 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we worked together.
Okay.
We sold shoes together. So my wife told him to go in the back so she could look at me.
Woo.
While he went and got shoes. Tyrone was flirting with her. With my wife. So long story short, so backing up, okay, I'm gonna move forward because it's gonna bless you on this one. So long story short, first time she saw me, and I had to back it up a little bit. She said she had prayed for a husband. Now this is while she was out there doing her thing. She had 2 children. I'd have said man, but was never married. And she said she just got tired of messing around out there in them streets.
Okay.
She wanted to settle down. All right. Okay. Now I'm gonna move back. So after she had prayed, now she wasn't living a life as a believer, but she knew about prayer. So she prayed and asked God for a man. And this is what she asked. She wanted a man that would love her, and a man that would love her children, and a man that would not go out on her. Those were 3 things in her prayer. That's what she wanted from God. Tell me the story. So after that prayer, Florsham's. She sees me in Florsham's. I never saw her. I never saw Cheryl. Wow. Never saw her.
Okay.
Number 2, next time she sees me, I'm working at Hughes Aircraft on her job.
Stop it.
I get hired on her job because of my military background. I get hired working on the F-14 Tomcat, F-15 Eagle jet, and F-18 jet. I did the fabrication for the radar systems.
Okay.
for Hughes Aircraft back in 1980. I got hired March 10th, 1980.
Wow.
Third time. Some of y'all know the back in the 80s and the early 70s, one of the other than Maverick Flats, they had Carolina West back in the day. The Carolina West was the place.
Yes.
Right? Party Wednesday night from like 8, 9 until 6 o'clock in the morning. Wednesday all the way to Sunday. Just party every night. So that was the place where everybody went. So she said, these 6 couples came in. I was one of the couples. Her and her girlfriend had went there. And she said, she looked up, and I was on the dance floor. I used to be a dancer. I ended up doing making money dancing at the club. They had, stuff like that. So she says, hey, that's that guy. She said, what? The guy I saw. I saw him at the shoe store. I saw him at the, and I saw him at, he's on my job. He's working on my job. And now he's here, right? So she says, man, just look at it. She sat down all night. At the Carolina West, they had tables, 2 dance floors, and they had phones on the tables, right? So she just sat at her table all night. Guys was calling her up, sending her drinks. She didn't deal with it. She just watched me all night. This is her story.
Okay.
But then I left. Long story short, I left. So again, next time, she had to come on days. She worked night shift. I worked days. So she had to get certified. She came on days. And when she had to go get certified, she had to pass this lab place.
Okay.
Remember, she prayed.
Yes.
She already saw this guy one time. Saw me the second. Now, the third time, I'm on her job. Long story short, she's going to her to get certified. She looks over, glanced over, and she sees me. Third time.
Uh-oh.
So the guy on my job, I used to buy all my weed from. He was my weed guy. Cocaine. My first Christmas at Hughes Aircraft was a white Christmas.
And we're not talking about snowflakes outside in California.
Now I ain't talking about snowflakes.
Exactly.
I'm talking about some of that white baby, the white horse.
Yes.
Everything that I wanted, Satan, I didn't know it, but anything I wanted, play the horses, booking, get my weed, and get cocaine was right in the same place where I worked.
Wow.
Satan was setting me, he had set me up. I didn't know anything about Satan back then. Anything I wanted. So long story short, I didn't even look up because I had smoked some dope. I stayed high all the time.
Right.
I probably why some of those planes crashed. The radar system didn't work.
Oh.
So long story, George, long story. She prayed and saw me 3 times after the prayer. She asked the guy to tell me to come out. So we came out. She says, do I know, the line? Do I know if I know? She said, do you part of the Carolina West? No, I said, do you part of the Carolina? I said, she said, oh, yeah. She knows she saw me.
Yes.
Right. And she already saw me 3 times.
Right.
So we end up getting together. After a year, about not even a year, about a year, I asked her to marry me. And the journey began. Long story short, my wife, and I was still in them drugs, went in the marriage. So here I am. I'm married. I'm in the military still, doing the reserve and working at Hughes Aircraft, and got 2 kids. Let's go back. No dad, no mom. I don't know how to be no father. I don't know how to be no husband. I know how to treat a woman the best I know how. I know how to love the children. Hey, the best I know how. A boy and a girl. My daughter she was 2 years old, Rashawn, and Antoine was 6 when I came in their life. In 1981. Today, just a little side. Today they're 50. Antoine is 50. Wow. Rashawn is 42.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then, of course, as we move forward, I had Robert and Christopher. So I had 4 children learning how to be a dad, a father, a provider, And you can't really do that. Now, some people have some morals and ethics without even knowing God. They just know how to do right.
Yes.
They don't even know God at all, but they're using his principles.
Yes.
They're using his principles, but
Exactly.
they're not giving him the glory.
Correct.
Amen. So long story short, so I was still having those drugs, playing the horses, cocaine, this out there. I never did, me and Cheryl arguing, learning how to be a husband. I never pushed her, never cussed, never said any cuss words, ever to my wife. Never, even to this day right now. But it was very, very discombobulated in the house.
Gotcha.
So there was a young lady that lived in the front. They went to church. They used to listen to us argue, all that stuff. So I was the type of guy, I didn't understand all Cheryl wanted to do, all my wife wanted to do was communicate with me.
Like most women.
Like most women.
Mm-hmm.
All they want to do is communicate with you, God. That's all. She's your helper. She's right there to help you. Because you get a woman like my wife, and like Sandra, like your wife, man, come on. Exactly. We got nuggets. We got diamonds.
Yes.
We got priceless. Nobody likes the women that we got.
Exactly.
Love us, but ain't taking no mess from us.
None.
Zero. They are perfect for us, praise God. So, my brother, I was still out there. But prayer. Here goes that prayer again. Somebody praying for me. I didn't know my wife was praying for me. Her and the young lady in front, they had got together.
What?
The young lady in the front, she was like 18 years old, 17 years old. And Cheryl tells me the story, said, she came back there, knocked on the door, said, you and your husband need to go to church. You need to go to church. If you want him to stop doing this and stop doing that, and you need him to know God. You don't know God. Yeah, she told me the story. Well, I don't know how long they had been, collaborating.
Okay.
But something happened to me, which I call an experience of the God kind. September 16th, Wednesday night, 1981, 845 West 59th Place, Hoover Gang Cribs. I had a visitation. I was watching. Anybody's a boxing fan? That was the night that Leonard and Hearns fought.
Okay.
I had bought a $50 bag of Thai stick back in the day. This is back in the 70s, in the 80s.
Yes.
You don't throw no $50 bag of Thai stick away. I'm sure what I meant by that. You don't. No, that's $50 bag of Thai stick.
Yes. And $50 back then was a lot of money.
$50. Come on now, I'm married, and I'm smoking up all the dope. I'm spending all the money on horses. Sometimes I come home and hey baby, I get it today. And more times than none, the horses I got to go find out a horse. The horse took my money. Cheryl was lit. She was mad. I come home high. I come home, and then when we got into it, I would leave. Yeah. I'd come back home. I'd come back home. I ain't staying out all night. I'd come back home. Yeah. I wouldn't hit my wife. I wouldn't cuss my wife. I never have called her. She'll tell you that. And so, long story short, as we move forward, almost done, that night I wrote a joint about this big Thai stick. Me and my partner smoked it right next door. Right next door. And of course, you know the story about Leonard and Hearns. So my wife said she was calling me if I got in the house, but it wasn't answering. Okay. So she walked upstairs and she saw me sitting beside the bed crying. And she said, what's wrong? And she said, I didn't say anything. Well, this is what happened to me. I came back that night and I'm high. I'm toe up from that Thai stick, just toe up. And I heard a voice speak to me. And the voice said 7 words to me. And the words were this: get up and throw your dope away. Those are the words that I heard. Wow. Spoke to me twice. I cannot tell you the time span between the time he first heard the voice and the second time. But the second time, the voice was a little bit more octave, louder. And the voice said, get up and throw your dope away. But what did you do? Well, this is what I remember. I remember getting up, looking at my dope box, walked to the bathroom about 10 feet away, and poured the dope in the toilet.
Whew.
You tell me, something happened. I call it the experience of a God kind from a wife that prayed for her husband.
Wow.
She
Wow.
prayed for her husband. She knew that she knew I was
Wow.
better than that. She knew I was a better man than that. But the girl up front,
The
young
nosy
teenage
neighbor.
girl,
The nosy
neighbor
Gotcha.
got me. Was hearing us, hearing us in the back, hearing us in that house, in that back house, arguing all the time, and watching me leave. I come back, but I leave, right? Because I'm not dealing with all that. But that's just the way my perspective of what I saw when I was a little boy.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't stab nobody what I saw, but because I wasn't that kind of guy. But I just leave. I just leave. I wasn't dealing with it.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know what I knew today.
Wow.
I didn't know that all my wife was trying to do was talk to me and try to get me and get my mind right, get my life right. Because now you're a father of 4 children. And I'm 20 what? I'm 25 now, 26 there. I have 4 children.
Wow.
I gotta know how to be a better father, better husband, better man. I gotta be a better man first. Then be a better father and a better husband. I got responsibility. I got a hat. I got my military hat. I got my Hughes aircraft hat. Then I got to take those 2 hats off and then be a father.
Right.
A husband, a man. But not knowing what I know today, that God equips us.
That goes to show the importance of the relationships that you have with those that are around you. The neighbor, your spouse,
telling you,
any friends that you have, because sometimes your wife is crying out, you probably in tears half the time you didn't even see her, trying to get a point to you, over to you that to help you see who you really were rather than what you were acting out to be. So she had to resort to, since you weren't listening to her with your ears, she said, let me talk to somebody who can make him listen.
Yeah.
So she on her knees praying, going to someone else praying with them, seeking God. Said, God, you're the only person that can help me with this situation. And thank goodness, thank God that she had the wherewithal to see that her words weren't powerful enough, her pain wasn't strong enough, that she could go to him and he would intervene through her prayers and get you and slap you when the time was needed to bring you to some rationale and some sensibility in your actions. He had to move on your behalf for her to get to you and bring you to the place where you are right now today.
Look at me today. As you move in, and we get ready to run, but yeah. And this is what happened. After that second time, I don't even remember it. I don't even remember it. She tells me the story. But I remember the night, because I wrote it down and all that. And so we moved forward. Now, she used to tell me that I used to take the Bible and throw it down and stomp on it. She said I did that. Because I thought I ain't going to no church. I ain't going with them. She said they call the preachers hypocrites.
Yes.
Not all of them.
Right.
I'm not judging. I'm just about what I've seen at the time when I was coming up. That was just my truth. I'm speaking the truth in love. That was going on. And so my wife, all that you said, she didn't know what else to do. So God had to use the young lady, the teenager, to pray, to intercede for me. And God came and got me because I wasn't looking for him.
Obviously not at that point in time.
But God is looking for us. But he's not going to make you come. Even when you become a believer or you say you are, he's not going to even make you read the Bible. He's not going to make you pray. He's not going to, the issues in life going to make you do something.
Right.
It's going to do one of the two. The issues of life are going to beat you down, even as it's going to beat you down if you're not in this word. A man that's not in church, a husband or a father that's not in church, you have no chance. You have no chance. You have no chance. Moving forward. So now to get me in church. So now I'm,
okay.
and that night, from that night until sitting right here today, September 16th, Wednesday night, 1981, I was miraculously delivered, received my deliverance from the drug life and everything else that associated with it.
Wow.
One night. Thank God for AA. Thank God for NA, Narcotics Anonymous, AA Anonymous, and all the other anonymouses. Thank God for those programs, because people do find God, Jesus, in those programs.
Yes.
God had to come get me another way. He had to do the Damascus Road type of thing. I gotta go get this boy.
Yeah.
I gotta do one of those, an experience of the God kind. So he can't say that I'm not real. No, you can't tell me he's not real.
Yes.
Because if what I'm telling you is not true and not real, I shouldn't be on this call right now. I shouldn't be on this call. No, I don't know where I would be. I'm gonna tell you that I have no idea. I could be dead, because I was headed that way without doing some other stuff that I was getting involved in. Let me just say this. On my job at Hughes Aircraft, I began to get involved with a young lady that was a drug trafficker. And we were getting ready to do, my wife would tell you, I was getting ready to sell drugs. Watch what happened. So the week that I was supposed to get involved to go do my drug trafficking, the young lady, they found her. Somebody abducted her from the corner of Century and Van Ness at a store. It's a little convenience store right there, gas station on the store, across the street from the post office. They abducted her. They found her body in Louisiana in a burnt up car. Beautiful girl.
Wow.
I would have met her right there. They would have got me too.
Wow.